welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're landing on Nethamus. It's an agri-world. Seems pretty quiet, right?
On the surface, yeah.
Yeah.
But don't let that fool you. It's about to become, well, the stage for a serious clash of titans.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, we're doing a turn-by-turn breakdown, an incredibly intense strategic battle.
That's right. We're not just talking, big booms. We're getting into the nitty-gritty, the crucial decisions, the unexpected moments, and what we can actually learn from a fight that was this close.
Our mission today is basically to unpack all of that for you. So on one side, you've got Captain Aurelius' Ultramarines, an Ironstorm Spearhead force.
And that's key, right? The Ironstorm Spearhead, it's built specifically to counter heavy armor. Led by Aurelius, you've got Guilliman himself.
The legends.
Yeah, and Tech Marines Mac and Eisenbard backing them up. They're geared up for a very specific kind of fight.
And facing them,
Oh, boy.
a really menacing Chaos Knight force.
Menacing is the word. 2 giant Cerastus Knight Atropos. 6 of the smaller but still nasty Wardogs. And a Horde. 90 Chaos Cultists.
90?
That's
A lot of bodies.
It is. And that contrast is stark, isn't it? Huge knights, swarms of infantry. It immediately creates the strategic problem. How do you handle both?
Right. You can't just focus on the big guys when you're drowning in cultists. Or vice versa. Captain Aurelius has a tough job splitting his focus.
A classic tactical challenge. Okay, so let's dive in. Turn 1, we're calling it the cautious opening.
Okay. The Ultramarines got the jump. They moved first. But interestingly, both sides played it really cagey.
Very cagey. Lots of powerful anti-armor on the table, so nobody wanted to give away easy shots. Everyone's using cover, no charges, no real firing angles yet. It felt like setting the pieces on a chessboard.
So what were those opening moves for the Ultramarines?
Well, the scouts moved up, took cover, grabbed an objective near the center. The Infiltrators pushed into some ruins, claiming a key objective in no man's land.
And Guilliman, where was he?
Advancing carefully, backing up those Infiltrators, making sure he wasn't sticking his neck out too far against those night guns.
Smart. And the vehicles.
The Vindicator, that's the tank with the big demolisher cannon, it went left flank. And even the Stormraven gunship, it sort of dipped its wing, hovering behind cover in their deployment zone, playing it safe.
Okay. And Chaos. What were they doing while the Ultramarines were positioning?
They were moving too. 2 Wardogs, a Stalker, and a Carnivore advanced towards that same left flank objective the Vindicator was eyeing.
Uh-oh. Potential clash there.
Definitely. And Cultists were streaming forward too, heading for that objective and also towards the center. Lots and lots of Cultists.
And the really big knights. The Cerastus.
Staying hidden, tucked away behind a big ruined building in their deployment zone. Waiting.
So the challenge for the Ultramarines is immediately clear. 90 cultists.
Yeah.
How do you even start to chew through that many bodies when you're built for tanks?
Exactly. It's a numbers game versus heavy firepower. End of turn 1, interestingly, no shots fired, but points were scored.
Oh.
How? Secondary missions. Ultramarines got 4 victory points for display of might. Chaos picked up 2 VP for secure no man's land.
Okay, so a slight edge to the Ultramarines early. But you mentioned a nuance. An oversight.
Yeah, just a small thing, but it shows how every detail matters. Captain Aurelius later regretted not moving his intercessors forward in their backfield ruin.
Why that?
They have sticky objectives. They could have moved up, secured their home objective, kept cover, and then moved off it in turn 2, but still hold it. He missed that little optimization.
Ah, okay. A missed opportunity. So end of turn 1, Ultramarines slightly ahead, 4 points to 2.
Right. Now, turn 2, this is where Captain Aurelius and the Ultramarines decide to, well, go hard.
Okay, gloves are coming off.
Pretty much. Guilliman and the Infiltrators push right onto that top right objective, digging in against the Wardogs and Cultists heading their way.
And the Stormraven. You said it was playing safe.
Not anymore. It flew over to shore up that left flank. Everyone expected a big night push there. And then a really key move.
What was that?
The Assault Intercessors deployed right in front of the Stormraven, a screening line.
To block chargers. Keep those big knights away from the gunship.
Exactly. Textbook defensive play. Protect your assets.
Makes sense. What else moved?
The Ballistus Dreadnought, that's the Night Slayer, tucked behind cover in the center, watching the middle objectives. The Gladiator Lancer, the anti-tank specialist, stayed back near home with the Intercessors and Tech Marines.
Okay, board set. Then the shooting started.
Oh yeah. Ultramarines struck first. Assault Intercessors chucked grenades at the incoming Wardog Stalker. That was their first oath target.
Oath a moment target, right, for the rerolls.
Exactly. The grenades did a nasty 4 mortal wounds, direct damage, can't save it. Then the Vindicator just let loose with that Demolisher cannon.
Doom.
Big boom, 11 damage. Wiped the stalker off the table before it even fired a shot.
Wow, decisive. 1 Wardog down already. What about the left flank?
Storm Raven opened up. Hurricane Bolters shredded 6 cultists. Then the Multi-Meltas targeted the second Oath target, a Wardog carnivore.
Hit hard.
Yeah, 10 wounds. Left it on just 4 wounds remaining, hanging by a thread. Guilliman and the Infiltrators also took out 7 cultists on their side.
So solid shooting phase. Then charges.
Yep. Assault Intercessors charged the cultists on the left, tore through 10 of them. Their power armor just shrugged off the cultist attacks.
Nice. Space Marines doing Space Marine things.
Pretty much. Okay, now Chaos responds. And they respond with fury.
Here come the Knights.
Yep. Big ones, small ones, striding across the board. Huge threat level now. But the Storm Raven had a trick.
Oh.
Used the Overwatch stratagem. Fired as that wounded Wardog carnivore moved nearby. Killed it. Finished it off. Brilliant use of a command point. Then they spent another CP immediately.
For what?
Armor of Contempt, making the Storm Raven tougher to wound. Good timing because the pain was coming.
Uh-oh. What did Chaos do?
They pulled off this darkly effective combo, used a stratagem to let their knights shoot after advancing, then a dark sacrifice.
That sounds ominous.
It was. 4 cultists just died. Poof. But in return, the knights got lethal hits. Automatic wounds.
Small prize for Chaos, I guess. 4 lives for better shooting.
Exactly. And they immediately offset it. Spent 2 CP, brought 20 more cultists back from reserves.
What? It's like a tide you can't stop.
Pretty much. So one of the big Serestus Knights, boosted by that sacrifice, fires on the Storm Raven. Last Gutter hits, even through Armor of Contempt and cover. 4 damage.
Ouch.
Then the Graviton Singularity Cannon hits, another 2 damage. Storm Raven's down to 8 wounds, suddenly looking very fragile.
Yikes. What about the other flank, where Guilliman was?
The Wardog Executioner focused fire on the Infiltrators. Autocannon, Demon Breath Melta, just wiped the unit out. Cultists finished off the last Marine.
No, the Infiltrators are gone.
Gone. Rough turn for the Ultramarines infantry.
And melee, any big clashes?
Oh, yeah. The Vindicator got hit by the Serestus Knight's last gutter, took heavy damage, down to only 7 wounds itself.
That tank is hurting now.
It is. Meanwhile, the Assault Intercessors were fighting a Wardog with its Reaper Chaintalon. Nasty weapon. But their lieutenant stepped up.
How so?
Tanked most of the wounds, kept the unit in the fight. Real heroic moment there.
Nice. Someone needed to hold the line.
Absolutely. But then, Guilliman himself was in trouble.
No. What happened?
A Wardog carnivore charged him, got through his defenses. Even with Armor of Fate, his special rule, he took hits, left him on only 4 wounds.
4 wounds. For Guilliman, that's critical.
It's a massive blow. But, you know, he's Guilliman. He hit back hard, brought that Wardog down to 6 wounds in return.
Okay, so he's still fighting, but barely. What was the commander thinking after all that?
Captain Aurelius felt good about the Assault Intercessor screen. That worked perfectly, but he kicked himself for not dropping the Infernus Marines earlier.
The flamethrower guys.
Yeah. If they'd been out, their Overwatch could have maybe softened up those charging knights. Another small what if.
So, end of a brutal turn, too.
Incredibly tight, but Chaos pulled slightly ahead. Ultramarines 13, Chaos Knights 15.
Wow. Still anyone's game, but momentum shifting towards Chaos. Okay, turn 3. Stakes are even higher now. Heroes start to fall.
That's the headline for this turn, yeah. First, Ultramarines reinforcements. The Brutalis Dreadnought, Maximus.
The close combat walker.
Yep. Him and the Infernus Marines finally jumped out of the Storm Raven, right onto that contested left flank, facing down one of those huge Serestus Knights.
Okay, bringing in the heavy hitters. What was the plan?
Focus fire. Target priority was that big Serestus Knight. All 28 wounds of it seemed almost insurmountable, but they had to try.
How did it go?
Mixed results. The Vindicator fired its Hunter-Killer missile and missed.
Oh, typical one-shot weapon luck.
Tell me about it. But its main cannon, the Demolisher, hit, chipped the Knight down to 25 wounds. Then the Storm Raven unloaded everything.
Did that help?
Honestly, not much. The heavy weapons kind of bounced off the big Knight's armor. The bolters did a couple more wounds, maybe, down to 23. It's tough.
Very tough. What about melee? Maximus charge.
Yep, Maximus charged the Wardog, finished it off. Good trade there.
Okay, one less Wardog. Center of the board.
Scouts fighting cultists. Brave, but way outnumbered. Not looking good for them.
And Guilliman, still on 4 wounds.
Still on 4 wounds, yeah. And another Wardog charged him again, but this time, his Armor of Fate held, incredible saves, just deflected everything.
Wow. Luck turned his way.
It did. And then Guilliman fought back, used a stratagem for sustained hits, extra attacks, basically, and just crushed the Wardog, obliterated it, Hand of Dominion doing its work.
Yes. Guilliman strikes back. That must have felt good.
Huge moment. But there was a mistake this turn, a tactical error from Aurelius.
Oh, what happened?
He messed up the order of his Oaths of Moment. He had 2 units targeted. But because Guilliman was locked in combat with the first target...
The rest of the army couldn't get the shooting buffs against the other target.
Exactly. Missed out on crucial rerolls in the shooting phase because of a procedural error. Small thing, huge impact on damage.
Ah, the details bite you again. And you know Chaos is going to capitalize.
Oh, they did. Cultists just kept flooding the center, overran the scouts completely, took those objectives.
Chaos controls the middle now.
Pretty much. One of the big Cerastus Knights, the Warlord, played it smart, pulled back so Maximus couldn't charge it next turn.
Cunning.
Yeah.
Any other shooting?
The Infernus Marines got some Overwatch shots off on a Wardog Huntsman moving in. Did 5 wounds, something at least.
Okay, but the cultists...
Relentless, like 46 of them shot at the remaining scouts, wiped them out. Then they targeted Guilliman.
The cultists shot Guilliman.
Threw grenades. Did 4 mortal wounds. That brought him down.
Oh, no.
Armor of Fate kicked in. He stood back up. But then... the Wardog Executioner lined him up, autocannon, multi-melta.
Don't say it.
Down again. This time, Captain Aurelius had no choice. Teleported the Primarch out, emergency evac to the battle barge. Guilliman is out of the fight.
Wow, losing Guilliman, that's got to hurt morale, strategy, everything. How do they even respond to that?
It's a massive blow, especially for an army relying on him, and it got worse.
How could it get worse?
The Chaos Warlord Knight, the Atropos, unloaded everything into Maximus. The Brutalis Dreadnought did 7 wounds. Then the Wardog Huntsman added its fire. Demon Breath Spear did 20 wounds.
20? In one go.
Obliterated Maximus, just gone, vaporized.
So Guilliman's out, Maximus is destroyed. What does that even leave the Ultramarines with for anti-armor? This is looking bad.
It's looking really bad. They're down 2 major damage dealers. Critically exposed now, relying on the Vindicator and the Lancer, pretty much.
And melee.
Cultists wiped out the last scouts, consolidated the center. The Wardog Huntsman kept fighting the assault intercessors, and that lieutenant. Still tanking wounds like a champion, keeping them in it.
Unsung hero of the battle, that lieutenant.
Absolutely. So, end of a devastating turn 3. Scores are still incredibly close, somehow. Ultramarines 32, Chaos 30.
How is that even possible after losing Guilliman and Maximus? Okay, turn 4. Absolute roller coaster. But you said there's a new hope. The tide turns.
Yeah, just when it looks darkest. Captain Aurelius deploys a new asset. Calidus Assassin Lara.
Ooh, an assassin.
On it.
Sneaky.
Very sneaky. She pops up, immediately takes out 4 cultists nearby with her neural shredder, helps score some secondaries. Her just being there forces Chaos to react, maybe shifts their focus a bit.
Okay, a spanner in the works for Chaos.
Yeah.
What else did the Ultramarines do?
They went systematically after the remaining Wardogs. The Infernus Marines and the Stormraven combined fire, took down that tough Huntsman Wardog.
Nice. One more down.
And then the Gladiator Lancer, the dedicated tank hunter, lined up the last Wardog, last cannon shot, 15 wounds.
15. Instant kill.
Vaporized it. All 6 Wardogs are now officially off the table. That's focus fire paying off.
Okay, that's huge. All the smaller knights are gone. What about the big ones?
Well, the Vindicator Assault Tiger, remember it was damaged. It lined up the Chaos Warlord Cerastus Knight, fired the Demolisher Cannon.
Come on, big hit.
Yeah, 28 wounds in one shot.
What? No way. Killed the warlord.
Brought the giant Warlord crashing down, just like that. A single, perfectly placed shot flips the whole script. Massive momentum swing.
Unbelievable. That's a game changer. Okay.
The Ballistus Dreadnought and the Intercessors mopped up the cultists in the center.
Definitely looking up, but there's still one massive knight left, right?
There is. The second, Cerastus Atropos. And it fired its Graviton Singularity Cannon, aimed right at the Gladiator Lancer. Looked like curtains for the Lancer.
Oh no, not the Lancer. They need that.
But Tech Marine Isambard, remember him? He was right nearby. Used his Adept of the Omnissiah ability.
What does that do again?
Lets him boost vehicle defenses. He switched on its shields. Just in the nick of time, blanked the damage completely, down to 0.
Yes. Clutch play by the Tech Marine. Save the Lancer. Incredible.
Absolutely critical moment. Pure skill and timing. So, end of turn 4, after that massive counterpunch, Ultramarines surge ahead, 45 points to Chaos's 40.
About a turnaround. Okay, turn 5. Final turn. What happens?
Well, the Ultramarines make a strategic call. Guilliman's gone, the Warlord Knight is down, most Wardogs are dead. Mission largely accomplished, right? Captain Aurelius decides to withdraw.
Makes sense. Consolidate the win, pull back the survivors.
Exactly. They took some final shots at the last remaining Chaos Knight. Still a beast, though. It finished the game with 18 wounds left. Tough nut to crack.
And the cultists. Did they make a final push?
They did, and this is key. Despite the Ultramarines' big plays in turn 4, those cultists were still everywhere in the middle. They completely dominated the center all game, scoring crucial primary points for Chaos.
So even though the Ultramarines killed the big threats, the cultists won the objective game.
That's exactly how it played out. They swung the battle on objectives, which leads us to the final score.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Ultramarines, 66 points. Chaos Knights, 69 points.
No, Chaos wins by 3 points.
That's
First
right.
all that.
Razor thin, an incredibly hard-fought battle, right down to the wire. Just shows how every single point, every objective held mattered.
Wow. Okay, let's unpack that. What went right for the Ultramarines, despite the loss?
Well, their initial setup was good. Tech Marines placed well, giving buffs, staying safe early on, using the Assault Intercessors to screen the Storm Raven. Tactical genius, perfect unit synergy.
And the lieutenant, we have to mention him again. Tanking all those wounds, heroic.
Absolutely. Kept that flank alive. They also used their abilities well most of the time. Grenades for mortals, armor of contempt, O3 rolls when they got the order right, the Tech Marine buffs.
And Isambard saving the Lancer. Can't forget that. That was amazing adaptation.
Obviously, lessons learned for next time.
Yeah, what could they have done differently, besides win by 4 points?
Well, getting those Infernus Marines out earlier for Overwatch, that seems like a big one. More foresight needed there.
Right. Could have maybe saved the Storm Raven some pain? Or Maximus?
Maybe. Also, a stronger focus consistently on primary objectives, like that missed Intercessor move in turn 1. Can't afford to bleed primary points against a Horde army.
Those cultists just kept racking up points in the middle.
They did. Another thing, remembering to use all their buffs. The lethal hits from the Lieutenant and Tech Marine Mac probably left some damage on the table by forgetting those sometimes.
Little optimizations add up.
They really do. Maybe even thinking about list composition, facing 90 cultists. Maybe swapping a Lancer for a Gladiator Reaper, something with more anti-infantry DACA.
Yeah, tailor the list more to the Horde threat.
And finally, just a discipline thing. Always keeping those Tech Marines within 3 inches of the vehicles they're supporting. Gotta maximize those buffs constantly. Can't let them drift apart.
So many small things that contributed to that tiny point difference.
Exactly. This whole battle really shows that fascinating interplay, doesn't it? Tactics, synergy, heroics, even those little mistakes or oversights, all define this incredibly close fight on Nethamus.